Today's video, we're going to talk about PPC for electricians, how to make piles of money as an electrician who wants to start a electrician business or one that is already going, how to run Google ads for it, as well as Facebook ads, and bring in the millions upon millions of dollars every year for your business once you got this structure set up for your market geographically. Given that we've ran multiple electrician campaigns in other cities, and this has been proven to be repeatable, which local service campaigns usually are. Yes, your ROI is going to be a little bit different city to city, market to market, but the actual template, ads, landing pages, what you're saying on each, that stays the same regardless if you're from Florida or Washington State. It's all the same stuff, just a little bit different cost per lead, a little different ROI based upon the level of competition in your local market. But I am going to go through in detail what these methods are where you can generate the millions. If you stay to the end of the video, I will also give you the cost per lead, closing rates on the leads you can get from each one of these three main primary methods that you run ads on Google and Facebook to generate sales for your business sustainably and profitably. So before I get into the numbers and everything here, if you do not know who I am yet, I am Corey Zyman, owner of Guaranteed PPC, an online advertising agency that specializes in guaranteeing results for their clients. That is, we do not charge our clients management fees until we can get them a certain minimum lift in the profitability, basically in excess of the management fee that we charge. We are the only agency out there who offers any kind of similar guarantees, which should tell you something about the quality of the information on this particular video. So with that said, getting into it. Now, I've got the strategies here broken out by platform, Google versus Facebook ads here, given that they're so totally different, which is the first thing you got to know about making money on multiple platforms. What you do on one platform isn't the same what you do on others. That is, primarily there, anything you do to advertise on search engines is different than everything else you're doing, because on search engines, you're just giving people what they want, and the quicker and easier and better you give it to them, the more you make, versus on other platforms other than search engines, you got to kind of trick people into caring about what you're doing. If you do that efficiently enough, not only will it work on Facebook, but you could actually run ads any other place getting in front of the same type of person, and it'll make money. Facebook being the main one because you get the most traffic there, and the traffic is actually pretty good quality. There's not a lot of bots clicking on your ads there and so forth. That said, you could take the Facebook offer that you find works, which I got one here for you that you can use, move it over to YouTube, move it over to running ads on Gmail through demand gen campaigns. You could damn well run it on, any place essentially. You could run ads on Taboola network. You could do the same thing there. Facebook is primarily though where the money is at, and what I personally vetted and tried for myself for the client, and it's bringing in plenty of money there. So we haven't gotten and tried these weird places like Taboola, which frankly I want to get into testing that. But anyway, with that said, the formula here I want to go through for Google ads. Before I get into the strategy, I just also want to point out one thing here, which is anything that works on Google will similarly work on Bing.com. Or through what you would run, to run ads on Bing.com, you have to run ads through a Microsoft Ads account. And you may say, well, who the hell uses Bing? What are you, smoking crack here, Corey? No, actually, I'm not smoking crack. There's actually a ton of customers are searching, people that are doing business with your competitors now, through and using Bing.com advertising, mainly organically, but in your local market, there might not be any other local electrician firms running physically ads on Bing.com. But if you run your ads there and anything that works on Google, you move it over to advertise on Bing.com, same keywords, same ads, same landing pages, same everything, you'll make a good 30% more money easily just by having moved it over there as well. General idea here is that if it works on Google, it works on Bing, so you should use it in both places. As soon as you make money on something with Google, you move it over there, get the other part of your profit unlocked, okay? Now, as far as search engine ads as a whole, Google, Bing, there's two main categories of keywords you're going to use. The general searches and then the service specifics. Starting with the general searches, which is where more of the volume is, but the ROI is not as great. What you're going to do is you're going to target your general keywords like electrician near me, electrician firms, electrician services, electrical service companies, like that, okay? Which in this space, you kind of got to be careful, because if you don't really lock down your terms right, you're going to get people looking for the local electrical services company where you pay their power bill and stuff like that. So be aware of that. run your keywords in exact match, and pay attention to the lead quality coming in so you don't get a bunch of those calls. That said, it's not that hard to get around. It's just something that I've noticed in this space. That said, okay, what you're going to have to do, though, before you run these ads is decide, do you want to run ads for commercial, residential, or both? A lot of guys that I talk to that are in the electrical space, they don't want to run ads for electrical, commercial, industrial, because they're not paying right away. They want net 30, 60, 90-day terms, and the money doesn't come in. But if you got the money to finance the business coming in, once the money starts coming in, it comes in big, okay? And it will actually make just as much, if not more, than the residential stuff will. If you could do it, do it. I would recommend starting out with residential, making money, and then starting up your commercial after. Unless you have so much money you don't know what to do with it, then start them both at the same time. So, and then with that, have different campaigns for each, given that the ROI you're going to get from each is different, significantly different. You could pay a lot more for a commercial electrical lead than a residential one. The job sizes are bigger, and you got repeat business on the commercial side on top of it. So with that said, okay, you will want to pay more for the commercial electrician leads if you run it. However, what I will tell you is that the cost per lead will average out about $60 a lead when you target, like commercial electrician near me, residential electrician near me, so on and so forth there. Commercial is going to be closer to $90. The residential side, you're going to be closer to $45, somewhere in there. So average out about 60 if you're going to do both. Now, similar to that, there's going to be keywords that are residential specific and commercial specific. So if they are typing in like residential electrician or home electrician, something like that, where they explicitly say they're looking for a residential service, you are going to have a landing page that's just residential focused. That makes a huge difference in your conversion rates. To where if you want 25, 30% of the people turning into a lead that is a call or form fill from every click that you're paying for, you need to do that. You have one for residential, one for commercial, and then one if you're not sure what they want. So if they just type in electrical services near me, you're targeting that keyword, you want a generic page that says you do residential and commercial because you're not sure what they want. So that's one of the secrets. The other secret here is not really exclusive to this market, as I found, but you should know it anyway. I'm going to throw it in there. And that is, you want to run single keyword ad group campaigns, at least if you want the results that I'm talking about here that are massively profitable. What single keyword ad group campaigns are, if you're not familiar with those, it's where you have unique ad copy and unique landing pages set up for every keyword you're targeting. And in the electrical services space, there's going to be hundreds upon hundreds of keywords variants that people type in before deciding to pick and use an electrical service company. The exact number, I don't have them at the top of my head. I've got we're talking close to 500 different variants, somewhere right around in there. What the average person's going to do is say, Corey, I'm not going to, set up keywords for 500 terms. I'm going to put 5 or 10 in there and then I'm going to run my ads and that's it. Okay. You're not going to get 20% of the results I'm going to get though, targeting every variant of every search individually with unique ad copy and unique pages for them. The important thing is that you have different ads for each term, because when somebody types in electrical contractor near me and you have an ad that says electrical contractor and then the name of their suburb on it, they're clicking on your ad at least 2 to 3 times higher rate than the competition's ads that are near it. And that's all you need to get on Google's good side and have them want to plaster you at the top of Google for every good quality lead that's coming through, give you cheaper cost per click, more clicks. People that are more serious as a whole, they'll prefer to show your ad because you're helping their users get what they want quicker, faster, easier, which is the name of the game with Google Ads. You do better than your competition in terms of click-through rate on the ad, conversion rate on the landing page. They want to promote you more than anybody else. Give you more clicks, bigger ad, which gets you more clicks, higher up in the list, which gets you more clicks. All of it starts happening. You're going to make money for sure if you could just get the click-through rate and the conversion rate on your campaign higher than your competition. And that's not hard to do when you're using these single keyword ad group campaigns and you have the keyword in the headline right away. Also, you have different campaigns for each city. So if you're in a metro area that has cities in it that are over 50K in population in itself, you want to have different campaigns for every city over 50K in population, so that if they're in Long Beach itself, you want your ad, first of all, to say what the keyword was. If they type in near me, you want electrical contractor in, and then the name of the city, Long Beach. So because they want to know 3 things before clicking on your ads. Do you do it? Do you cover the area? Can they trust you? And the 2 things that they need to know of the 3 you get taken care of with the ad formula that I gave you. Then you just got to say in business since XYZ year or A+ BBB rated, one or the other. They both work about the same on the other part of the ad, and now they know they can trust you. They got everything they need to decide your ad's the best to click on. They go to your web page. Your web page itself tells them the same 3 things within a few seconds. The quicker they get the information, the more likely they're going to be to call. And if you do it right, you get 30+% of people to call. And on the landing page, you just want the logo up top left, number top right, headline, button here to click to inquire or contact us. The picture over here should be relevant itself to the service. So if you're doing residential, it's somebody doing a residential plug change, something like that. If it's commercial, it's showing somebody, checking on the, like a box, electrical box, something like that, working on it to indicate to the user even if they couldn't read, that this is actually the right page for them. That's always your goal. I want to see your page so good, I can't read, I know what to do already. Then underneath all that, you have your Google rating, Yelp rating, Facebook rating in terms of your average review rating score. And then underneath it, you list all the different things that you do. We do plugs, we do light fixture installation, form. Underneath that, a bunch of video testimonials. Underneath that, your physical location in terms of a map showing where you're at to show that you're credible and you're a real company, your address, your license number, and then that's the end of the page. So in general, I know that was quick, that I went through that real quick, but that's in the general formula of what you want to use. If you want the template, landing page template that already gets 30% conversion rates, I've got it. Just reach out to me at my firm and I'll sell it to you. Not only will I sell you that, with the ad campaign template, all of it, that you can just copy paste it, run it in your account and get the results I'm talking about here. We sell it for a one-time fee. Also, if you want us to manage your campaigns, of course, we can do that. We can guarantee you a certain result if we're managing the campaigns too, because we can make sure you followed through with every detail on it correctly. It was rebranded right. And if you want to know how much we can get for you in terms of profit from your campaigns, we'll tell you that up front, because that's what we do here. We guarantee results and we tell you what we can get you up front in terms of profit / qualified leads coming in that will actually buy. So, and then furthermore, by the way, if you have any one-off questions about anything I'm talking about here, you can always reach out to my site and book a consulting or coaching call, and I'll go through together with you, answer any questions you have and or help you do what you want to do with your ads, whether it's to scale your ads, to get the ads profitable, whatever your issues are. And I'm great at looking at the entire business that you have and why your ads are not getting you where you want to go and what's the next best thing to do to get you where you want to go, whether that is working on that landing page or the tracking, which is a very important part of campaigns that 75% overlook, which, because the ads are running off of an algorithm now, you need the right tracking to get the ads to be profitable. We'll look at everything and figure out what you need to improve to get your ads doing what you want to do. So with that said, getting back to what I was saying here, now that's the general searches. There's more of these in general. There's about 60-70% of your searches are just going to come through here because people don't get super specific on Google. However, the other 30% that do get specific, that are going to type in like plug wiring service, light switch install service, the leads are much cheaper and higher closing in terms of the closing rate, and ROI is much better in general. These are more serious people, and because your competition is not willing to set up ads for each sub-service that you offer, you get most of these people for yourself. So whereas the cost per lead for the general searches is going to be closer to $60, you can get these specific leads from people typing in like plug change service, stuff like that, at $25 a lead and closing approximately 50% of the leads. Whereas with the general searches, you're going to close, if it's residential, about 1 in 3, if it's commercial, like 1 in 5. Terms of the percentage of calls that turn into an actual revenue generating event of some sort. Okay? So big difference in ROI here. Big difference. It's just a lot more work to get it set up right, and there's less volume. So, and the general rule of thumb in online advertising and search engine advertising is the more specific the keyword, the higher the ROI, because there's less competition on it and people are more sure about what they want. When they type in electrical service company, maybe they just want some free information. If they're typing in plug change service, they damn well know what they want already. Or, most of them do anyway. And therefore the percentage of people that call are sellable. There's a higher percentage of the people that are actually serious about doing business there. But that is Google in a nutshell. I went through and breezed through all these pieces of the puzzle here real quick. But if you want to know how to do it, that's the way you want to do it for yourself. And these lead costs are profitable, at least when you're looking at what you're going to get from that customer over the long run, because they'll come back again at some point. B, you look at the referrals you'll get from those customers, as long as you aren't a shitty service. C, and here's the important one, you look at the effect on your organic rankings. A lot of guys, they want organic rankings, as you should, on Google. Showing up in the maps pack, on Google search results, showing up in the organic, which is way less important nowadays. But they just try to optimize for traffic when they don't have any, and they're not a big brand. Whereas Google it's like getting a loan from the bank. They only loan money to people who don't need it. Google only gives traffic to people who don't need it. That they're the biggest brand in this space, and that's it. So with that said, you need to have Google want to send you every free user possible. You need to seem like the biggest company possible, because guess what? Big companies are less likely to rip off their users. So that's the easy, safe bet, is just to give it all to the top guy. It's not a democracy. It's not fair. Google wants people using Google to get a good experience so they don't get pissed off and use DuckDuckGo next time because they got ripped off whoever Google recommended to them. So, but how do you get there? Well, you do it off the backs of a campaign that's profitable on a small level and that you scaled up and that you maxed out the ads. And, even if you were able to spend 50 grand a month in ad spend, which I know you're not going to spend that, but let's say you did, and all it did was break even, your organic rankings are going to be through the freaking charts, because Google's going to be like, holy shit, this business here gets a lot of traffic, a lot of people calling, on and on and on. We need to rank this sucker at the top of Google. This is clearly the top brand in the local market that he's in. And then you win, because you get all the free traffic, and then that's all pure profit, all those leads. So you got to think about ROI from the perspective of all these other things that subsidize or offset the cost of the ads. So at these lead costs here, you'll make a little bit of money. Not much, but a little bit. And it's always going to be not a huge amount directly, because if there were that much return on the first sale with the first person you do business with, your competition would have already taken more of those leads. A lot of people are just using the ads as a way to keep their guys busy when they're not busy, because they're losing money with them not having anything. So whereas you'll make some money on this, it's mainly the repeat business that you're going to get combined with the organic you're going to get as a result of running the ads with the referrals, and it all adds up, okay? Now, that is not enough to wet your beak here. We got Facebook ads, and for that matter, I've got details on how to run the best Facebook campaign, Facebook ads for a business like yours. All I talk about on this channel is just how to make ads work and become a millionaire, multi-millionaire running ads for your business. If you haven't subscribed to the channel and this is your goal, there is I promise you, no better place to get information on that topic on the web and on this platform of YouTube than what you're going to find on this channel right here, because nobody else is working 70 hours a week like I am to spend 40 hours a week doing ad strategy on 50 different accounts, practically speaking, at our agency to find out what works, and then spending another 30 a week just sharing what works on this channel. I work more than anybody else, and that's what you need to share valid information. You can't just read about it and regurgitate the information. You got to be in there doing it, because it's changing all the time, and that's it. I don't see anybody else doing this. The guys with great slick looking YouTube channels, they don't actually spend any time running ads, or they say they do. I promise you they're not. They're having other guys doing the work, and their money is selling courses, making money off of ad spend, yada, yada, yada. So there's that. So if you haven't subscribed already, subscribe already. Go ahead and do it right now. I'll wait for you. Furthermore, you should check out my blog on my site at guaranteedppc.com/blog, because the blog has even better information where I break down step by step how to actually run ads the way that we run them at our firm to guarantee clients results, with screenshots, with everything you need to use them. So if you want to know how to actually make money with ads, in addition to the great resource that this channel is, check out the blog as well. You'll really won't regret going over there to see it. So on my blog at guaranteedppc.com/blog, you'll find all that great content there as well from myself. I personally write the blog. If you have any questions about anything I'm talking about here, by the way, leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a question or comment on this channel, usually within 24 hours. I'll answer any question that you have about making money with ads. If your business, web marketing. I don't even care. You watching is, you're helping me make the channel better, growing the channel. I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you have, even if they're not about the topic of the video itself. I always answer questions on this channel. So go ahead and give me what you got. With that said, about ready to say about Facebook ads. So on Facebook, you've got to have an offer. You can't just show up like so many dingbats are going to do and just say, hey, I've got electrical services. Want to buy? Nobody gives a crap. Nobody. Okay? Nobody. Why do they not give a crap? Because they know they could just go to Google at any time and type in electrical service company, and there's 15 million companies there to pick from, and they're done. You have to do more to get somebody who's not already looking for services to contact you, even if they need the services, even though they've got a busted plug or they need a new chandelier that needs to be, they want to have installed in their house, whatever it is. For that matter, by the way, just as a small aside, if you want to make more money and have better quality clientele, you can get picky here and run your ads only towards top 10 to 20% of income demographic in your city/metro area that you're in. And you'll get bigger houses where you'll have more money per job. The clients will be better. People that are richer in general. Yeah, some rich people can be stingy, of course, but they're not going to, question you about your fees. And they're also pretty loyal as a buyer as well. So if you do them right once, they're never going to switch. Let you know about as far as a hack. If you want to make your business run smoother, deal with easier going people, go that route versus your individual middle of the road income guy who's going to be asking, does it really have to be $79 for this plug? Whatever. And dealing with crap like that on an ongoing basis, which if you want the most profit, you deal with everybody. If you don't care about being King Midas here at the top of, the hill with everything, then you just go after you go after everybody. Anyway, finally, I should get this spit out here finally. So on your Facebook ads, you need an actual offer that gets people to say, why me? Why now? If you put yourself in their shoes and you can't answer that for yourself, you're not doing it right. What we found on Facebook, this is just one offer that of possible, dozens of offers that would work in this market that we found will actually generate a positive ROI. And that is, we know most people on the residential side at least that want help, it comes down to light switches they want installed, plugs that they need installed or fixed, lights, fixtures installed. Those are the main things, okay? And so everybody has pretty much one of those broken in a house. I don't want to even say that. I want to say at least 10% of households have at least one of those things that they need. So that fits the 1%er rule that I have when we're talking about running ads on Facebook is, if we can advertise to an audience of people that at least 1% of the people need our product or service, we're in good shape. It's enough of a concentration that paying to get in front of all these people is going to be profitable because every person your ad shows to, it costs you money. So if there's not enough in the people that you're showing the ads to, you lose money. So with that said, if you want to just follow our lead here, you can have an ad that says, have a non-working plug, light switch, or need a light fixture installed, plug installed, 50% off any of these services today only. Okay, so this feeds the why me? I have a broken plug, so this applies to me. Why now? Well, you're literally saying this is 50% off. That's something I know I'm not going to get anywhere else. And I know it's either I do it right now or not getting it. So if there was a time to get this plug fixed in my house, now is the time. Frankly, even if I don't do it now and I say I'm going to do it in 4 hours, I might, it might be, I won't find this ad again. So that offer actually worked really well. How well? Well, our cost per lead on this was right around $30, which we didn't run Facebook lead ads, which a lot of people would run lead ads where you fill out the form on the ad itself. Those were actually really good in the past. If you're just starting out, I would recommend sending them to an actual landing page so you don't have a bunch of bots clicking through your ads. Eventually, you can use Facebook lead ads with CRM integration and get better results, feeding in the correct data about leads that actually booked. That's your long-term solution. But with that said, the really crazy thing about this is the percentage of the leads that close. The leads that are closing, 3 out of 5 of those leads are closing into a revenue generating event, which is much higher than our search ads here and here. Now, that said, obviously you may be saying to yourself, well, Corey, I don't want to offer no damn 50% off. Well, like I said earlier, you got to think about what's the other value of these ads. Are you getting a lifelong customer out of this? Yes. Why not just not make money on the initial transaction, build up a huge customer list, and then once you have that list, they keep coming back to you. Now you got your business built. You have to give 50% off. I know, what you're saying here. Plus, it's got to be $30 that you have to pay for a lead, and not everyone will close. So it'll be $60 for a customer. Then I have to give them 50% off. I'm losing money to get customers. Yes, technically that is true. As long as, or if you cannot sell to anybody again, or here's the key thing here, or you can't upsell people. When you go in, and if you train your staff properly, like we had with our company, they come in and they look at everything. Your box needs X, Y, Z. Your wiring here, it's actually not good. You got rats that have, looks like you have damage to the wires. And you end up taking a plug job for $100. You turn it into a $500 event, revenue generating event, and now you're making a little bit of money on it. But you have to be, training your guys well, and they got to be going through a scripted process in order to do this. Not only that, but here's an even, you could take this further now. And while the guy's walking around the house trying to figure out what needs to be happening, oh, I see you got water damage here. Oh, I see, your masonry around your fireplace. This is actually screwed up. I've got a great guy for this. I got a great guy for this. Would you like to have their information? I've got it on the card here. And you make a deal with, the other companies, and you say, for every call that's generated, I want $100. And you get a call tracking number on the card, which you can set up through your CallRail account, which is a call tracking provider. And then that subsidizes the ad spend as well. So, if you will, that's another way to build up your business. Now, generally speaking here, you don't start with Facebook because it's not as profitable. You start on Google Bing, you make a bunch, get up to where you're making an extra $1 million, $2 million, $3 million a year from this, which is easy to do in any kind of halfway big market where we've done this. Then you add in your Facebook, spend a little money on Facebook to get it built up, get your sales process dialed in, and then try to scale that up, knowing it's a lot more challenging to get it to work. But if you get the sales process down right, you invest in this, the trickle back of the revenue from repeat customers over time and referrals will actually make it profitable. And so you maybe only, if you spend $5,000 a month here, you spend 500 here. And then, what I like to do is I tell clients, figure out a ratio of sales to ad spend you're happy with, and then spend that. So if you're doing $1 million a year, are you willing to spend $80,000 a month on ad spend, $80,000 a year on ad spend, $100,000 a year on ad spend? So 8% of your sales goes to ad spend, 10%, whatever it is. Once you find it, then your goal is just to keep walking up the sales at the same rate that you walk up the ad spend. And you usually do that in like 10%, 15% shots. So you're at $1 million, you're trying to get to $1.5 million. You bring up your ad spend from what it's at now, plus 15%. You find the best place to spend it. You spend it here if you can. If not, you start spending it over here on Facebook. That's the best way to scale your business, given that most of the value of the customers you're generating is all the spin-off sources of revenue that I talked about, right? Organic rankings, referrals, repeat business, all of it. And then naturally, once in a while, even on the initial, getting a really big job where somebody has to pay $10,000 because they need everything rewired. It's an old house and it needs a total revamp. And that subsidizes a lot of the sales coming in. So anyway, with that said, that kind of gives you an idea of what we've done to generate not just revenue, but a huge client list that you can actually build up and take a bigger and bigger chunk of the market share in your market over time. Your goal should just be to suffocate out all the other people in your market so that pretty much everybody at some time or another that comes online that has a problem is going to go through you. You do them really right, and then they just never go through anybody else again. For that matter, you can do, once you got the customers, other ways to make revenue. Why don't you sell a yearly electrical inspection to make sure there's no fire risk in the house? I don't know why guys don't do this. I mean, frankly, if I don't want my house to burn down, I want to check the wiring is, the integrity is there, and I don't want to just assume it is all the time. You could charge $150 yearly to come out, and then you do that with 10,000 customers, you got a bunch of extra revenue every year that's generated on autopilot. That's a reoccurring revenue. So the money is in, figuring out how to get the most value out of your customers, really, and assuming that it's there, versus just let's do business with somebody one time and try to get the ads to make money for us the first time with the first purchase. And even if we do a shitty job or don't have any upsells or anything else, we still make money, which you can do that on Google and Bing ads, but you're still just not going to make nearly as much as if you figure out the rest of the stuff as well. I do want to tell you that if you want somebody to walk up your sales like that, cover all your ad spend, cover having to do the work setting up the ads, we're willing to partner with you if you give us a chunk of your revenue growth. So if you're at $300,000 a year in sales, we bring you to $5 million a year, that $4.7 million, if you're willing to give us between 1 and 10% of the revenue growth there, we're willing to do all that, including giving you ad spend that we pay for on our side to get you there. And so we'll partner together and become equity partners in the business in exchange for all the marketing services that our agency offers for free on the front end, if you will. And we've got several companies we've done this with in the past that are generating multiple millions of dollars a year, in addition to the revenue that they had already, of which I can give you direct references for it that will attest to this. So whereas you would be getting a smaller percentage of the revenue coming into your business partnering with us, the pie is going to become much, much bigger. And you can get to ultimately build the company up. And if you wanted to get it up to 3, 4, 5 million a year, sell it, you're retired. Boom. Just because we put our 2 cents into the marketing process and just handled it. So if you're interested in that, reach out to me. I'd be happy to have a conversation with you about that as well at our firm at guaranteedppc.com. But I'm going to wrap it up with that. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
Remember when I said Facebook ads was important during this video? Well, this video here tells you how to do it.